So welcome to part 2 of the build video series. If you haven't already, please check out the first video where we'll see how to construct the build. In this video, we're actually going to concentrate more on tightening up the build by adding some effects like reverb and sidechain compression. Alright, so there's a couple more things that need to be done. I need to extend out these drums so they come back in after the build. Alright? And I'm also going to drop out my kick here so that when everything comes back in after the drop, it will have more impact. So with that said, I think I'm actually going to take out the percussion. I'm just right clicking and I'm hitting deactivate clips. I don't actually want to delete it, I just want to deactivate it. And again, when everything comes back in, it will have more of an impact, I believe, right? And then we have these new elements such as the percussion come back in, and then, you probably want to add some bass or whatnot to it yourself. But again, the idea is for when everything comes back in, we'll have more of a dramatic effect. All right, and I'm also going to extend this out. So I'm going to make another MIDI clip here. All right, and I'm just going to have this set up as a C3. All right. Because we started on the C3, our build starts on the C3, so we're just going to have this in the background. We're not going to have it loud, we're just going to have it playing in the background. Alright. And we're actually going to lower that a little bit. That's the filter frequency. Alright, and then let's grab the volume. Just adjust the volume a little bit. And we'll have it come in about 4 bars in. And then it'll rise in volume. Alright. And then everything will come in like that. And now I'd like to add some reverb. Alright, so I have a send set up down here with a reverb on it. And this is just a basic reverb preset. Alright, not too much has been tweaked. I did, however, turn the dry wet all the way up to 100%, which is very important if you have a send to turn up your reverb to 100% wet. And I'm also adjusting my high cut. I'm actually going to turn it off because I want all my high frequencies to be coming in. And I want them to go through the reverb. I'm going to automate my send to the reverb. Alright, so we're going to have it come in like a little bit at first. And then as we build up, we're going to add more and more reverb. Alright, by the time we get to the end, we're going to have lots of reverb. Alright, so actually in the beginning we'll have a little bit more. Why not? Just to give it that distant kind of effect that it's kind of in the background. We add reverb to things, we kind of set things in the background and make things sound distant. So the idea is we'll have it in the background at first, then as the song builds, it'll come closer to us. Let's have a listen and let's hear what we have so far. Alright, and I like that. I like how we don't have the percussion coming in until after the build. A couple more things I'm going to add to the reverb. I'm going to have the kick, the initial kick for the drop send out to the reverb. Alright. And that'll give us something like, it'll give us that little explosion kind of a sound. Now I'm going back into my reverb send. And I'm going to add a compressor because I want to add a little sidechain compression. Alright, so the idea is after the build comes in and all the sounds come back in, we're going to have a little sidechain compression, which is going to give that reverb that pumping effect. Alright, so I'm going to unfold my sidechain section and toggle my sidechain on. And I'm going to grab audio from the kick. Alright, so now the kick drum is what's going to trigger the compressor, not the reverb signal coming in, which would be the normal way the compressor would work. We're going to have the kick triggering the compressor. All right, so I'm going to take my threshold down a bit. It's about negative 30 decibels. My ratio to about 4 because we want like a nice, not too crazy of a compression. All right, attack all the way down. Release up a bit to about 50 milliseconds. And I'm going to soften up my knee a little bit so it's not too choppy. I'm going to leave it at 10 decibels so it's like a nice smooth drop in volume. All right. And I'm going to play it back now. And here we have. All right, and I think that sounds good. Again, it's nice and subtle. All right, now the one thing we have to do is I don't want this to come in right with the reverb, the sidechain that is. I don't want that pumping effect to come right in with the drop. I want it to slowly come in maybe over the course of a bar. So I'm going to automate this gain knob. All right, so I'm going to start it here. And like I said, over the course of a bar, I'm going to have it automate up a little bit. All right. And I think if I have it come up to about -3, that will be fine. And what this is doing is, when the gain is all the way down at -infinity, like it is here, there's no kick coming in because it's basically muted, right? So there'll be nothing to trigger the sidechain, so there'll be no sidechaining going on. And this automation will increase the volume of the kick coming through, and as the kick gets louder, it'll start triggering that compressor. Now what I want to do is increase the output of the compressor. So we're going to lose some volume from the sidechain pumping. So I'm going to use this output knob and I'm going to automate that upwards, and that'll add some volume to the outgoing signal. All right, so let me play it back once. All right, and that works fine for me at this point. I think that sounds good. All right, a little subtle side chaining, nothing too crazy. So now let's play it back from the beginning, and here we have. Alright, and I'm going to stop here, but I definitely recommend checking out Dubspot.com for more music production tutorials and tips. Thanks a lot. Take care.